Welcome to Speed Reads. Inner Excellence. Turn your fear into focus, confidence, and lasting success. The drive to achieve can be thrilling, but it often comes with a hidden cost. The more you chase success, the more the goalposts move. Promotions, awards, and recognition offer fleeting satisfaction, yet something deeper remains out of reach. Without realizing it, you may be following a path shaped by external expectations rather than your own sense of purpose. Pressure makes every decision feel high stakes. The fear of failure tightens its grip, turning small missteps into overwhelming setbacks. Instead of taking bold action, you hesitate or second-guess yourself, stuck in a cycle of doubt. The key to handling pressure isn't eliminating fear, but learning how to work through it with confidence. In this summary, you'll learn to do just that. You'll discover how to quiet your inner critic, shift your focus from external validation to personal mastery, and develop the habits that help elite performers stay composed in high-pressure moments. If you're ready to move beyond fear and perform at your best, this is where it starts. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Speed Reads. Your support is greatly appreciated. Break free from fear, self-doubt, and society's illusion of success. Joe Ehrmann, a former NFL player, spent years chasing what the world told him mattered: money, fame, and status as a professional athlete. But no matter how much he achieved, the feeling of success never lasted. Society had sold him an illusion that accomplishments define worth. After stepping away from his career, he realized how deeply cultural expectations had shaped his thinking. He'd been taught that masculinity meant dominance, that self-worth depended on achievements, and that happiness was something to earn. Coaching forced him to rethink everything. Instead of pursuing recognition, he focused on shaping young athletes into better men, teaching them that real strength comes from integrity and relationships. That shift gave his life meaning in a way success never had. Many people fall into the same trap. They're surrounded by messages telling them that success depends on accumulation, more wealth, more accomplishments, more validation. The pressure to prove yourself never stops because the world constantly moves the finish line. Breaking free from this cycle requires a different way of measuring progress, one that isn't based on external rewards but on self-awareness, growth, and purpose. Fear makes that shift difficult. When too much attention goes to how others might judge you, your mind becomes stuck in hesitation. Self-doubt doesn't come from a lack of ability, it grows out of constant self-surveillance. The more energy spent analyzing each move, the harder it becomes to develop real confidence. The people who perform at their best aren't the ones trying to prove something, they're the ones fully engaged in their work, thinking less about how they appear and more about what they're doing. But the mind resists that kind of freedom. 3 mental patterns work against progress: the trickster, the critic, and the monkey mind. The trickster traps people in past mistakes, replaying failures and making every risk seem dangerous. The critic doesn't just notice flaws, it turns them into emotional roadblocks, making small missteps feel like proof of inadequacy. And the monkey mind keeps the focus scattered, pulling attention in too many directions at once, making decisions feel overwhelming. Recognizing these patterns is your first step toward shutting them down. Fear loses its grip when success is measured differently. When everything depends on results, failure feels personal. But by shifting the focus to effort and growth, you can change your experience and set yourself up to thrive. Fear fades when purpose takes control. On July 15, 2007, endurance swimmer Lewis Gordon Pugh stood on the ice at the North Pole, preparing to attempt the impossible, a 1-kilometer swim in water barely above freezing. His hands were still damaged from failed training attempts. Experts warned that the cold would shut down his body within minutes. Fear had almost broken him until something shifted. He stopped thinking about failure and focused on his mission, raising awareness about climate change. That clarity turned his fear into fuel, and stroke by stroke, he completed the swim. His success didn't come from physical conditioning alone. It was his mind that carried him through. What is it that separates people like Pew from those who crumble under pressure? It comes down to three key traits: emotional commitment, perspective, and the ability to stay present when stakes are high. True excellence requires more than talent, it demands full engagement. If you chase approval, fear of failure will control you. But if you work from passion and authenticity, you'll last longer and go further. Expanding your perspective matters just as much. If you stay locked inside your own fears and limitations, you won't see the next step. The strongest performers are always looking beyond their current abilities, adapting, learning, and improving. And when the moment of pressure arrives, they execute. The ability to act without hesitation, without freezing or second-guessing, determines who succeeds and who falls apart. But how do you build that kind of resilience? It comes from loosening the grip of your ego. The ego clings to control, demands recognition, and ties self-worth to outcomes. That's why so many people struggle with failure. They see it as proof that they aren't good enough. The people who endure see it differently. They focus on growth instead of validation, so a setback doesn't shake their confidence. They don't need a perfect record. They need progress. Fear itself isn't the problem. The real issue is where you put your focus. When you're worried about yourself, your safety, your reputation, your success, fear has a grip on you. But when you focus on something bigger, whether it's a cause, a mission, or simply mastering your craft, fear fades into the background. The samurai understood this. They trained their minds as much as their bodies. Through constant meditation on death, they freed themselves from hesitation. Their discipline wasn't for fame or recognition. Mastery was the only goal. That kind of focus creates a strength that can't be shaken. Think like a winner, perform like a champion. Tyrone Muggsy Bogues grew up surrounded by hardship and violence. When he was 5 years old, he found himself in the middle of a shooting. As an adult, he was only 5 feet 3 inches, a height seen as a major disadvantage in professional basketball. But instead of accepting his limitations, he trained his mind to focus on what he could control: his mentality, his work ethic, and his emotional strength. That mindset carried him through 14 years in the NBA. Mastering your emotions is one of the most valuable skills for success. People often let circumstances determine how they feel, reacting instinctively to stress or setbacks. But with training, you can shift your emotional state on demand. Instead of being at the mercy of external events, you can develop the ability to remain calm under pressure, think clearly, and make better decisions. This kind of control separates those who consistently perform at a high level from those who struggle to recover from difficulties. Your body also plays a direct role in shaping your mental state. The way you stand, breathe, and move affects how you feel. Slouching and shallow breathing reinforce doubt, while standing tall and using deep, controlled breaths can create a sense of confidence and control. Visualization is another powerful technique. When you repeatedly picture yourself succeeding in a challenging situation, your brain treats it as a real experience, making you more prepared and capable when the actual moment arrives. Your belief system defines what you see as possible. Your subconscious mind constantly works to confirm your expectations, whether they help you or hold you back. If you believe you're destined to fail, your mind will find ways to reinforce that idea, often without you realizing it. But when you consciously challenge these beliefs and replace them with empowering ones, you shift your perspective. This kind of mental training works in real life. Callista Balco, a college softball player, was coming off repeated failures against renowned Texas pitcher Cat Osterman. But Balco used mental rehearsal to prepare for their next encounter. She imagined herself stepping up to the plate and making the hit she had struggled to achieve. When the two faced off again in the Women's College World Series, she executed exactly what she had trained her mind to believe, securing a game-winning hit when it mattered most. Reprogramming your mind requires consistently applying techniques that reshape your habits and instincts. Affirmations replace self-doubt with confidence by reinforcing positive beliefs until they become second nature. Visualization sharpens your mental preparation, training your mind to expect success before it happens. Anchoring connects a physical action, such as taking a deep breath or standing with strong posture, to a feeling of confidence, allowing you to trigger that state when you need it most. These techniques, practiced repeatedly, shift the way you think, act, and ultimately perform, turning mental strength into real-world success. Why pressure is a tool, not a threat. On January 15, 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 took off from New York's LaGuardia Airport. Minutes later, a bird strike knocked out both engines. The aircraft was losing altitude fast, and disaster seemed inevitable. But Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger stayed calm. He ignored fear, shut out distractions, and focused on the only thing that mattered: landing safely. Drawing on years of training, Sully remained composed and guided the aircraft into a controlled emergency landing on the Hudson River, ensuring the survival of all 155 passengers. His ability to stay fully engaged in the moment under intense pressure demonstrates how mental conditioning shapes high-level performance. Whether you're an athlete, a musician, or a business leader, excelling in high-stakes situations requires complete attention. But that's easier said than done. It's natural to dwell on past mistakes or worry about what might go wrong. The key is training yourself to stay locked into the present, no matter what's happening around you. One of the best ways to do that is by simplifying your thoughts. Overthinking leads to hesitation, and hesitation kills performance. When your mind is clear, your actions become sharper and more instinctive. Another strategy is shifting your attention to small details in your surroundings. Appreciating something as simple as the sound of a golf ball hitting the green or the rhythm of your own breathing helps pull you into the moment. The way you handle pressure is something you can train. The best performers don't waste energy trying to eliminate stress. Rather than treating pressure as an obstacle, they recognize that it heightens their focus and enhances their abilities. If you see a challenge as something to fear, your body responds with tension and hesitation. But if you treat it as a chance to rise to the occasion, you perform at your best when it matters most. Growth comes from resilience and learning from failure. Alexander Karelin was once the dominating force in Greco-Roman wrestling, with a record of 887 wins to 2 losses at senior level. But this wasn't just because he was strong. Plenty of athletes had raw power. What set him apart was his willingness to push himself far beyond what anyone else could endure. His training was relentless. He believed that his preparation had to be harder than anything his opponents would ever face. That mindset, not just his physical ability, made him nearly unbeatable. That same way of thinking applies far beyond sports. The most successful people aren't the ones born with the most talent. They're the ones who commit to improving every day, no matter how difficult it is. It's easy to get caught up in external validation, trophies, promotions, praise, but real success comes from focusing on developing your skills and character. If you tie your self-worth to results, you'll always feel like you're chasing something just out of reach. Instead, shifting your attention to learning makes long-term success and fulfillment possible. Of course, that means dealing with failure. No one reaches the top without setbacks, but the best performers don't see failure as a personal flaw. They treat it like a teacher. Instead of letting mistakes shake their confidence, they analyze what went wrong and adjust. The faster you can detach emotionally from failure and look at it as useful feedback, the faster you'll improve. This is why elite performers willingly put themselves in tough situations. Struggle isn't something to avoid, it's necessary for growth. Extraordinary leaders take that same approach, but instead of just focusing on their own development, they bring others along with them. The best leadership creates an environment where people can reach their full potential. Michael Jordan inspired his teammates not just by being the best, but by showing them what it took to get there. Navy SEALs train with a level of discipline that strengthens both the body and the mind, building teams that can handle anything. And Maslow's research shows that the most fulfilled individuals are those who focus on personal growth and self-awareness. The best leaders help people find meaning in their work and push beyond their perceived limits. Some people think success means beating the competition, but that mindset leads to pressure and burnout. The top performers focus on mastering their craft. Ian Crocker, an Olympic swimmer, realized that when the pressure to win started draining his love for the sport, he stopped defining himself by medals and focused on personal growth, which gave him a deeper sense of purpose. Concentrating on refining skills rather than proving something to others leads to stronger performance and a more rewarding experience. If you concentrate on mastering your craft rather than seeking external validation, you'll not only perform better, but you'll also enjoy the process a lot more. Final summary. The main takeaway of this summary to Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy is that your greatest obstacle isn't external pressure, it's fear, self-doubt, and the mental patterns holding you back. True success comes from shifting your focus away from validation and toward growth, purpose, and resilience. By training your mind like the world's top performers, you can break free from hesitation, reframe failure, and stay composed under pressure. When you stop measuring yourself by results and start focusing on mastery, confidence and fulfillment follow, allowing you to perform at your best in any situation. Okay, that's it for this summary. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next one.